See, most people think that a smart home has to look something like a Best Buy showroom, but that's not really the case. This is our newly renovated guest room, and it's full of smart home tech, but you never really know it by looking at it. Not only did I not want this room to look overly techy, I really needed to make sure everything in here was super easy to operate for our guests. So today I'm going to show you how I turned this old, somewhat grungy teenager's room into our new smart guest room, and I'll share with you all the hidden smart tech, plus tying it all together and making it all super easy so that anybody who comes to this house and uses this room can easily operate everything in here. Let's go. Yo, what's up guys? My name is Shane and this channel is all about helping you build an easy Apple home, smart home with new videos and live streams published every week. Thanks to SwitchBot for sponsoring today's video. So my son moved out a while back and we've been wanting to transform this room into an actual guest room. And naturally, I also wanted to include some smart home tech, but it needed to be tech that any guest could easily operate. So our requirements for this room were threefold. One, it had to look good. Everything has to have, wife approval. Second, it has to be extremely easy to use since our guests may not necessarily be tech savvy or even have access to our smart home app and controls. And third, any smart tech included needed to actually add some sort of value. I sort of wanted to create that cool feeling you get if you've ever stayed at one of those nice hotels with automated curtains or something like that. So that's kind of what I went for, all trying to maintain a really clean, simple, minimal design. Now, before we could get to any of that, the room definitely needed some love. Again, this room was last used by a 19-year-old boy, so we had some touching up to do. It had those exposed light strips all around the entire ceiling, like so many teenagers have. All kinds of nicks and holes in the walls to repair. The door was all messed up. If you have kids, especially boys, you probably know the struggle. So we pulled everything out, fixed up the walls and the door, gave everything a fresh coat of paint and cleaned the carpets. We put a new bed in there and that was really it. Now it was time to get to the fun part, adding all our cool tech. So I got one of the cheapest 50-inch TVs that I could find during Black Friday. Again, this is just a guest room, so I really didn't need any top-of-the-line OLED or anything like that. Went with just a basic 4K Insignia TV with Amazon Fire TV built in. This is the only TV in my house now that doesn't have an Apple TV attached to it, but again, just for a guest room, the smart TV is more than enough. Next, I needed to fix the lighting. So we installed a ceiling fan a while back, a couple years ago, I guess it was now. But because my son wanted to be able to use the little remote control with the fan, the light switches on the wall never really worked as they should with the ceiling light fan combo. So to fix that, I pulled out the receiver that's in the ceiling fan canopy so that they would be connected directly to the light switches. I installed some Lutron Caseta smart switches. I used a Caseta on-off switch for the light and a fan controller for the fan. And since I already have a Lutron Caseta bridge in my house, I simply connected these to the app and I could then control them with Apple Home or with my voice assistant or automations, any of that good stuff. Now for the bedside table, I got the new SwitchBot Air Purifier table. I've wanted one of these for this project ever since I first saw this thing announced. It looks super sleek with the wood grain tabletop. I love the little light that it has built in. And of course it has a powerful air purifier as well with the 3-layer filtration system. It has a pre-filtration layer that helps with that floating pet fur, a HEPA filter for removing bacteria from the air, and a carbon filter that helps to remove pet odors. This provides 360-degree air purification for rooms up to 1,800 square feet. We have dogs in the house, so I thought it would be really nice to have a good air purifier here in this room. It also has a wireless charger built into the tabletop, which is really cool. Again, this is great for a bedside table. Of course, you can control everything through the SwitchBot app if you want. You can adjust the fan speed. It has various modes like sleep mode and even a pet mode that is supposed to prevent disturbing your pets. It has an auto mode, which is great. Honestly, that's what I typically just leave it on. I can automate this so it's always cleaning the air, making sure the room is nice and clean before any guests arrive. There's even a little slot where you can add essential oils to add a nice fragrance to the room, which is pretty cool. Now this does support Matter through one of the SwitchBot hubs, so you can also integrate this into your smart home ecosystem. Although I will say at the moment, it only supports on, off in the Apple Home app. So SwitchBot, if you're listening, it would be great if we could get this updated to support more controls like fan speed, auto mode, through Matter. That would be awesome. That said, it's still a really cool product and it's probably my favorite thing about this newly renovated guest bedroom. This SwitchBot Air Purifier table costs just over $200. There's actually a discount right now at the time of this recording, so check out the links and all the details below to get the best price if interested in one of these for yourself. Now on the other side of the bed, I placed an old Yeelight floor lamp that I had and I just wasn't using anymore. I thought it matched the aesthetic of the room pretty well. The lamp does support HomeKit, so I can also connect this to my smart home if I want. I'm honestly not even sure if this lamp is still available anymore, but I do like the look of it, so it was nice to be able to reuse it here in this room. Next, I wanted to install some curtains. Well, my wife wanted to install some curtains to dress up the room a little bit. Of course, I wanted to make those smart too, so I used the SwitchBot Curtain 3 to do this. Great product for automating your curtains. I did a whole video on these a while back. If you want to check out that video later, I'll put a link down in the description for that. I thought this would be a really cool way to make the guests sort of feel, again, like they were in like a luxury hotel or something. I mean, who doesn't love curtains that automatically open and close remotely? Really cool. I thought about adding a SwitchBot blind tilt also for the tilt blinds that I have there. I basically have these all throughout my house. I really love them for turning your existing blinds smart. But ultimately, I decided that would probably be just a little overkill here. I really don't think I needed to automate the blinds and the curtains, but you certainly could if you wanted to. I'll probably just leave the blinds open for guests and then let them use the curtains, for privacy or to make the room dark. All right, now let's talk about how I pulled all this together. I think it is very important for any smart home tech to also have manual control. This is especially true for a guest bedroom where the guests likely won't even have access to my smart home ecosystem or smart home apps. There's a couple routes you could take here. I did consider putting a HomePod mini in the room to give guests, voice control, but ultimately decided against that. Instead, I decided to use a SwitchBot universal remote. So this is pretty great because I can tie in everything to be controlled right here with this one remote. Everything in the room can be controlled with this remote. Perfect for a guest. You do need to have a SwitchBot hub in the house for this to work, which I do have. I did a full video on this remote too, by the way, if you want to check out more of the details on that. But I thought this would be a great way, for the guests to just be able to control everything in the room right there from the bed if they wanted to. I connected the TV so they can use the remote to control the TV, of course, but I also added controls for the air purifier table, the curtains, and even the Lutron light switches. Since the remote does support Matter, I can easily configure it to control other smart home accessories like those Lutron light switches. And once it's all set up, the guests can now just cycle through the devices on the remote and choose whichever they want to control. Now lastly, I want to say that all of the devices in here can also be controlled manually. So this is very important, I think. Even if the remote is, too much or confusing or whatever for the guest, you can still walk up to the light switches, turn on or off the lights or the fan. You can still use the buttons on the air purifier to control that. A simple tug of the curtains will open or close them. Again, having manual control as an option for your smart home tech is very important for your guests or other family members, I think. And none of the manual controls will mess up the smart home connections or the automations that I might have in place. So as you can see, adding smart home tech doesn't have to necessarily be an eyesore. You can integrate it in beautifully so that no one really has to even know there is tech there to begin with. In fact, if my guests don't want to use the smart aspects of the room, they don't have to, because again, everything can still be controlled manually. But if they do, hopefully they'll enjoy some of the cool things that I set up here. Let me know what you think below. Would you have done anything differently? You can find all the products that I mentioned today, including that awesome new air purifier table by SwitchBot, down in the description below. If you have pets, and especially if you have kids or elderly at home, the SwitchBot Air Purifier table would be a great choice. Here's a video right over here on that SwitchBot remote if interested in seeing more details about that. Be sure to subscribe for more smart home content just like this and live streams every week. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.